How to deposit on eToro step by step. The first and most important thing is to come here to the left side once you've created your account. So once you're here, what you need to do is deposit the funds. For this, we're going to switch to the real account. Click down here where it says switch to real account at the bottom left and go to your real portfolio. In this case, I don't have any money added yet, but what you're going to do to add money is click where it says deposit funds, and we'll wait for it to load here so we can deposit money. So it loads up here and we have several deposit methods. First, here, to be able to deposit, we have to choose the amount of money we want to deposit. We can do this in dollars, in euros, in pounds, or in Australian dollars. And then, for the deposit method, let's say we've already entered $1,000 here that we want to deposit. Remember that the minimum, if it's your first time depositing, is $200. But if you've already deposited before, then the minimum is $50, depending on the country you're in. So, for example, I'm going to enter $200 here, and for the deposit method, it shows credit or debit card. In this case, it only shows me the debit card option. In your case, you might see the credit card option because this depends on the country you're in or where your account was created. And then, if we want, we can transfer directly through a bank transfer. But for that, the minimum is $500, as you can see here. In this case, to transfer from a card, it's very simple. You just enter the amount of money you want to deposit here, and then you simply fill in your information, like your first name, last name, etc., and then your card number. That's it, you just click deposit. Once you click deposit, the money will be deposited automatically. It takes 1 or 2 minutes at most. And once the deposit is made, it will show up in your account. It'll appear here as available. And then you just make the deposit and invest with that money. Then, to do it through a bank transfer, remember that the minimum is $500, and depending on the currency you choose, this amount can change. For example, if I select here, look, the minimum is 446 euros if you deposit in euros. So, well, that's something to keep in mind. Let's set it to 500 here. And once you're sure about the amount of money you want to deposit, click where it says continue. And here, what will happen automatically is that a new screen will load, showing us the account to which we need to transfer the money. So it's really simple. You just need to enter the beneficiary's number here, which in this case is this one. Remember that this can change. This is what appears for me, but in your case, a different name might show up because it depends on the regulations of where your account is located. In my case, my account is in the United Kingdom, so this is what I see. But if your country is different, then something else might appear here. Then, for the beneficiary's address, it's this one again. In your case, it might be different, so don't rely on what's shown in this video because the information could be different. Next, the name of the bank appears, which in this case is JP Morgan, the bank's address if it's requested, the account number, the SWIFT code, and the IBAN number, in case this code is required for accounts that are in dollars. So if you're going to make a local deposit in the United States, you use this account. And basically, that's how you make a deposit. It's very simple, very easy, and remember that you absolutely must send at least $500, because if you send less than that amount, it won't be processed. And in some cases, your deposit might be blocked and you could be charged a fee because the deposit couldn't be completed. So absolutely remember that if your bank charges you fees or anything like that, you need to make sure that after all the fees are deducted, the amount that actually reaches eToro is $500, because if not, they might reject it and charge you a fee. Also, another important thing is that, compared to a debit card transfer, this method takes several days. Usually about 4 to 7 business days. So if you don't have time and want to deposit right away, it's best to use your card. But if you can wait, then it's not a problem because it usually takes 4 to 7 days to process. So you should keep that in mind. And another thing, remember that here, well, eToro gives us a tip. In case you're going to deposit in a certain currency, to avoid conversion fees and that sort of thing, you should deposit from an account that's in the same currency as the one you're depositing. In other words, if you're going to deposit in dollars, try to make sure the account you're depositing from is also in dollars. And if you're depositing in euros, make sure the account is in euros, and so on. That way, you won't have any issues when making a deposit here on eToro.